It was a little overwhelming in that sense, but it was still really cool that we get to check it out.
I got a little stressed out, so we had to make that possible.
So American. There's no point. I don't want to try to learn something new again. It was very elegant.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another recap. We are back home in the US, outside our house. This is my brick house. Anyway guys, we're going to be recapping day 14, which is technically in Oxford, but we didn't stay the day in Oxford. No. So we spent the night in Oxford the night before, and then so we woke up in the morning and we had tickets to go see Blenheim Palace.
Yes, we did.
Where Churchill's from, in case you didn't know that. I
think we started the morning fairly simple though. We just like had breakfast there at the hotel.
It was like, I think a 40-minute drive still.
Yeah, because we still had the car.
So by the time we woke up 8 and then drove, we had to be there at 10.
Yeah. So it's still kind of an early morning, but it wasn't like a stressfully early morning.
No.
I did like this hotel a little bit better. I don't know, the beds were more comfortable and they had a nice bathroom.
It was slightly bigger, yeah. And then we had Costa.
That's right, we did go to Costa that morning.
We tried Costa for the first time.
And I think it was at a Tesco's. Like the only thing open that early. I don't know, there wasn't really many shops, but the Tesco's was open and the Costa inside the Tesco's was open, so we just went there.
I think it was a Tesco because it was a full-size one. It was the first full-size Tesco we went into.
Unfortunately, we didn't actually have time to walk the whole store and check that one out as well, but we did have the Costa for the first time, which I had seen them the whole trip. There was
everywhere.
Every single time we went to Costa. And your brother had gone to them a few times, really liked it, and it's like, you guys should come next time.
So I tried it was like a coffee at first.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan unless it's really sweet.
It was a coffee chocolate latte or something like that.
I'm definitely a wimp. It was like a Nutella coffee.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm definitely a wimp. I didn't like it as much.
I was gonna say, that sounds like something you would love.
You would think, but I didn't actually like it as much, so I went and got something with whipped cream and
it was like a dessert
like
thing.
A frappe or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that was actually pretty good.
Was that a hot drink too? No, that was a cold drink.
It was an interesting experience.
Yes, it was.
Anyway, so from Costa, we went to Blenheim.
Blenheim Palace.
So we drove by it. We kind of saw the grand entrance because we missed our turn. So then we like looked back around.
We missed a lot of turns.
Well, we didn't realize that you could actually pull into the palace grounds to park.
Yeah.
So we like go down the street. We kind of drove through a little bit of the town Bladden, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
And then so anyway, we ended up going back down to the palace through the gates.
That massive long driveway was really impressive. Yeah. But then you had to pull off the driveway to go park because that's where the parking was.
Which apparently they do say Blenheim is bigger than Buckingham. It's the biggest privately owned palace in
there was something about
that. In the UK. So it is a very grand palace. We will have our own separate video of like what we saw and what we thought of it. But yeah, we spent most of the day. Yeah. Probably from 10 to like 4.
Because we walked a lot of the acreage and saw a lot of the grounds.
Well, the thing is, you have a huge house, but then you also have 2,000 acres of land. Yeah. The fact that it's still privately owned and it's like just passed down is just amazing.
Yeah. The one issue I had with it was because when we went there, they were setting up for some sort of concert or show that was going to be held in the next couple weeks. So they had all these bleachers filling the entire courtyard.
Which kind of took away from the grand look that it would have had.
Yeah, because it made the courtyard feel smaller than it was.
But that was kind of the same thing with Edinburgh Castle. Yeah. So anyway, we go into Blenheim. The rooms are amazing. Everything's beautiful. Everything is just exactly what you would think of a palace.
But the fact that they still live there. The Duke of
Marlborough, I think?
Yeah, something like that. They still live there. We're actually there when we went, that they just stayed in their wing or whatever. So we, of course, didn't get to see that or see anybody there. But, like, can you imagine having this big of a house and just, like, never seeing anyone, knowing people are constantly walking through your house?
I mean, they make a lot of money off of it, so.
I mean, that's true.
Because that was the first time we started getting to, like, the sandstone look.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I know Oxford has a lot of that.
Yeah, because at this point, we hadn't actually gone into Oxford.
That'll be the next video.
Yeah.
So it had the sandstone look. I was so impressed, though. One, she gave him, I think he had, like, honor. He did, I forget what he did, but it was like
he saved an army.
It was a very heroic thing he did. So as a reward, the queen gave him 2,000 acres, which is in itself is awesome. But she only gave him, which even back then, she gave him 250,000 pounds. Right. Which I think they said in today's money is like 18 or 20 million. Yeah. But the fact that he could still build this massive place, and it took 20 years to finish it. Yeah. With only 250,000 pounds or 20 million is still mind-boggling, because if you built that same thing nowadays, it would probably cost more than 20 million.
Oh, for sure. It'd be like 100 million.
It is just so impressive and massive and just beautiful. Yeah. Because it's not even just the building itself, like all the gold, like lace trim and all the artwork and the tapestries and the paintings. Yeah. Like literally, some of the paintings are the size of our bedroom.
Oh my gosh, yes. And some of the tapestries that just hung the entire wall. I don't know, instead of hanging a painting, they just hung this entire tapestry the size of the whole house, pretty much.
The dining room was super impressive, the fact that they still have like Christmas and stuff there as a family.
It was kind of funny that they had it all set up and decorated as if there was a meal there, even though all the food was fake.
Fake food, yeah.
It was very obviously fake food. But it's still kind of cool, so you can get the feeling.
The library was very impressive. I really was kind of shocked that they had their own like mini minster or chapel.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
But it's like a full-on like minster look, like a very, very miniature size.
Yes, it was very elegant.
But to have it in your own house was just mind-boggling. I think we spent like an hour and a half just inside the palace.
At least.
And then we went outside to see the grounds.
Yes, and we didn't walk all the trails, but we did walk a good portion of them. And got to see the maze, and we got to see the secret garden.
We did the maze.
We did the maze. That was fun, actually.
It was actually a really good maze. We saw like where the groundskeeper stayed. There was like a restaurant there. They have their own mini train.
Yeah, we didn't go on it though. It was kind of lame.
It was kind of expensive. It was like you had to wait like 30 minutes or something.
Yeah, it was kind of lame, honestly. But it was
for a kid. It was
cool.
Great.
Yeah, they were very actually family oriented.
They had their own
the whole thing.
One thing and then there was a tree that was apparently in Harry Potter, not the Whomping Willow.
I didn't remember it.
But there is a tree from the movie that they filmed there, so that was kind of cool. The grounds are just so clean. One thing it seemed to me, because you buy this pass and it lasts a whole year. I could be wrong, but let me know if some of you guys do this or know about this, live in the area. It seems like Blenheim Palace is used by the people as like almost a park.
Oh yeah.
Because so many people were just like there with their kids riding bikes.
Yeah, I noticed
people
that.
were just having their lunch on the grounds or just lounging or just slowly. It didn't seem like they were tourists.
Yeah, because if you buy a year pass, you can come back anytime.
It's expensive. It's like £25, I think, per person, or 35. It was expensive. If you live there, you could go there as much as you want within a year. So if you look at the scheme of things, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's like a private park that the public has access to.
There's also like a massive gift shop and cafe in the palace. I forgot to mention that.
Yes, which actually, it was kind of a cool gift shop. I know it was kind of touristy, but it had like not your normal gifts. It had like home goods and stuff.
That, and also had like some of the Scottish wool.
I can't remember if we bought anything there though.
I don't think so. Anyway, so yeah, it was so impressive. Everything about it, I highly recommend to go. Being the biggest palace is kind of one of those things, and the fact that Winston Churchill obviously is why it's probably so famous.
True.
Obviously, his family has history, and it's
There's
not
a whole
just
exhibition
Winston
going
Churchill
on of him there as well.
But Winston Churchill, like the whole basement, there's like a whole museum to him. We saw lots of his paintings, which were really cool.
Yeah.
And then we saw like his like army attire and his hat and like lots of letters and notes that he had written. So there's very much Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not just him. There's other things. But like even the gardens, like we saw where he proposed to his wife.
That was cool.
Like this beautiful little
alcove.
I forget what the building was. It was like it
was a temple to Diana, I think it was.
Either way, it was just everything about like the ponds, the lakes, the ground.
Very grand and a little overwhelming as someone who could never ever imagine to afford something like that. It's like somebody owns this. This is just an individual's house. This isn't like the royal family or like some giant corporation. This is just some person's house and family. So it was a little overwhelming in that sense, but it was still really cool that we get to check it out.
So anyway, that's what we did in Blenheim. We definitely were impressed with it. It was very fun.
After that, we went down to
Bladden, because my brother, one of his like key things, he's a huge Winston
for the whole trip. He's
a huge Winston Churchill fan, a huge history buff. He wanted to see where Churchill was buried, so we had to make that possible.
Yes.
We went to where he was buried, and it's just like the Bladden Church. It's just a small little church.
Very small.
Tiny little roads to get up there.
Yeah, we had to park before we could even drive all the way up.
Sadly, the church was closed. They apparently have like a little Winston Churchill exhibit there.
Oh.
But it was closed for some reason. But we did see where he was buried, and his family plot, and where his wife was buried.
I liked that even though he was like this huge figure in history, and he had all this power and stuff like that, he still chose to be buried in this little tiny cemetery.
It's close to the palace and close to where his family was. I guess it's the church that he went to.
Yeah.
At least sometime or whatever. He felt a connection there.
Yeah.
So he chose to be buried there. So and it was kind of cool because like all the other graves are very old and stuff, but his little family plot was like not walled off. It was kind of chained off to a perimeter.
Like
and it was very clean. The people had left like poppy flowers, and there was some money. Like some people had left like $50.
Oh, that's right. That was kind of weird.
Half pounds on the grave.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a very unique, kind of just cool thing. Like this is where Winston Churchill is. So anyway, after that, we go back to Oxford because my brother is into rare books, and he wanted to check out some rare books.
And we still had the car for a little bit longer before we had to return it.
Oxford driving. I got a little stressed.
Lost it.
I got a little stressed because
a little.
So I got a little taste of like I'd say probably semi-deep city driving with just everyone walking, and I don't know. I turned down a few bus only lanes, and I may have gone down a one way when I wasn't supposed to. I don't know. No one honked at me. No one got irritated, but I felt like I was in the wrong. And with just the stress of it, we had to return the car in like an hour anyway. So I just was. We
drove in. Well, here's why. We drove in just because there was a rare bookstore that your brother really wanted to check out because he's into that kind of stuff. So like, okay, we'll just drive in, drop him off, or we'll check that out real quick. And we had time before we had to drop the car off. But as soon as we get into Oxford, you hit all this traffic. You're like, which turn? How close? Are we there yet? Once we got to where the bookstore was, he's just like, get out. I'm just gonna find a place and park and not move.
Yes.
Which is basically exactly what happened.
It was so busy. I mean, I'm sure if I was a little
It was rush hour too.
If I had been a little bit more comfortable, then yeah, I could have been like all the locals and just pull off on the sidewalk with my hazards or something. I don't do well in city driving to begin with.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit out of my element. I don't think I would have gone to a wreck. I think if I had done it for like an hour or two.
You were still being safe. You were just like freaking out.
I was a lot more comfortable driving everywhere else except the cities, and that was the first city driving.
We were almost done with our trip anyway. You're like, there's no point. I don't want to try to learn something new again.
So anyway, he found a book, so then we can go return the car. I will have to say Enterprise was awesome. Yes. Somebody just came out, looked at it. They didn't say anything about the dirt. I didn't get charged. Nope. They gave me back the deposit. So they were really easy to work with.
I mean, we were careful with the car. We didn't do anything crazy with it.
Another thing really nice about them, because they were such a big city, we picked that car up in New York. I was able to do all this unlimited mile driving and drop it off in Oxford.
Speaking of unlimited miles, how many miles did we end up driving?
Well, I was going to say, guys, comment down below how many miles you think we drove in the UK.
If you're right and we find it, we'll pin you.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. We will pin the comment if anyone gets to the correct number, but just give us an idea of how many miles you think we drove. So anyway, we dropped the car for Enterprise, and then we're kind of hungry. It's like 5, so we're still
at this point we're trying to save money too, because we spent a lot on the trip so far. So we're like, what's cheap? What's right here that we don't have to walk
literally right across
far?
From Enterprise is a McDonald's.
That's true.
So it's like, oh, we've had McDonald's in Wales. We haven't had it in England. It's got to be this epic experience. No, anyway, so we go to McDonald's. I'm ashamed to admit it. It was fine. Yeah, it was whatever. Like I think we got almost the same thing we had before. Nothing special.
I got a wrap this time.
Nothing special to speak of. But afterwards, my brother's trying to get this Uber because we haven't figured out the buses in Oxford or anything yet, and saying it's gonna take like an hour to get to the hotel.
Yeah.
And the Uber rides like 15 minutes or something. So he's like, okay, it's late. Let's just get Uber. Yeah. We'll be there. And for some reason, the Ubers kept dropping him.
I can't remember if we went through like 3 different Ubers, or one Uber said he was 5 minutes away, but it took like 20 to 30 minutes before he actually arrived because he was either parked somewhere else, but we kept walking around the McDonald's trying to see, where is this guy? What is he parked in?
We were like, okay, we're at McDonald's. It's a central location. It should be easy to find this place.
Yeah, there's an easy place to drive in and then drive out again.
But it said it's like, okay, this car is parked here at McDonald's waiting for you. And like
we're like, we don't see it.
It's not anywhere to be found. It took 2 or 3 times before a driver finally came and picked us up. Whatever.
And then after that, it was fine. It was straight to the hotel, and we were able to relax most of the evening.
Well, actually, so we got back to the hotel I think around 6:30, maybe 7. And then my brother, he kind of has this thing where on long trips he likes to watch a movie
or go see a movie
in theaters. To be kind of say like, oh yeah, I saw that movie while I was in England.
And normally we wouldn't be like super into that, but it just so happened that our hotel was literally connected to a movie theater.
Well, it wasn't actually.
There was like a tiny walkway. It was pretty much literally connected.
It was like a 5-minute walk. The thing was, our hotel was kind of outside of Oxford, so there was really nothing to do.
Everything was closed, so there was just nothing around.
So we would have to have bussed in late around Oxford, and we were tired. So anyway, my brother said, let's go see a movie. And well, it's out, Top Gun.
Yes.
So we went and saw a very American movie.
It was so
American in England.
But it was awesome. I actually liked
it was a great movie. Yeah, great movie.
I liked it better than the first one.
The first one was like more of a romance, I think. As we were watching it, like I don't even think about it normally, but watching it's like, oh yeah, this is so American.
I know.
And because we're in England, so I'm like all the English people. I'm just kind of like, it just kind of made me think like, oh yeah, this is American.
Yes,
for sure.
Very American. Nothing about it is really.
No, it's
not American. It was very relaxing.
It was actually cheap. Yeah. I say cheap because like the movie was like £5 a person.
Yeah, £5.
Euros.
I keep saying
It was £5 a person, and I know over here it would have been like 11 or 12 bucks at least.
Especially for a A-list movie like that.
We went to Blenheim Palace. We saw where Churchill was buried, so we kind of explored. We drove a little bit around Blythe. We didn't stop out and get out anywhere.
Not really.
And then we dropped off the car and watched the movie. So exciting, I know, guys.
But it was in England, so it makes it even better.
Everything we do is awesome because it's in England.
Yes.
So anyway, that is what we did.
So stay tuned for day 15.
Which is the last day.
The last day.
Other than the travel day back.
We spent the whole day in Oxford. Also, I apologize for all the traffic noises. Again, we were just outside by our house, and there's a lot of traffic.
I hope you guys are enjoying these kind of our feelings and thoughts and what we went through. And anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, please be safe, take care, look after one another, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
And stay tuned for the last and final day.